Hi everyone and welcome. Today I'll be making peanut butter and jam thumbprint cookies that are vegan, paleo, and don't need to be baked. They're chewy, soft, and full of peanut butter flavor, so let's jump right into the recipe. The first and main ingredient is peanut butter. I'm using organic smooth peanut butter, but if you don't like peanut butter, I imagine that you could use other nut butters as well, although I have not tested it myself. Another ingredient I have ready is coconut oil, but I actually haven't used it in this recipe. The only time you would use it is if your peanut butter was not liquidy enough and the thumbprint cookies were too dry to hold together. Next up is some liquid sweetener. I'm using maple syrup because of its thin consistency and frankly because it's very easy to get here in Canada. But any liquid sweetener would work. Just keep in mind that every liquid sweetener has different level of sweetness and thickness. Maple syrup is especially sweet and thin, so if you use other liquid sweeteners, you might need to increase the amount. Finally, some vanilla extract and coconut flour. If you have never worked with coconut flour, it's great for thickening recipes. It absorbs liquids really well, but not only that, it also absorbs flavors really well, becoming one with the peanut butter and maple syrup in this recipe. Just be careful not to add too much of coconut flour because it will keep absorbing liquids. So if you add too much, the cookie dough will end up being too dry and stiff. What you should be aiming for is a moist, a little bit sticky dough. Another problem with adding too much coconut flour is that the cookies would break when you make the indention for jam. So start with less coconut flour than the recipe calls for and add more as you go. If, on the other hand, you find that the dough is too moist, you can always put it in the fridge for a few minutes. When all the ingredients are mixed together, roll the dough into small balls. At this point, you can start making the jam for the thumbprint cookies. I made my own strawberry jam from scratch, but you can use store-bought jam as well. The reason I made my own was that I wanted to make sure the jam was the right consistency. A lot of store-bought jams are just too runny for taking these peanut butter and jam thumbprints on the road. I like to pack them for trips or stick them into lunch boxes, so the firmer the jam, the better. Once you have all your strawberries cut up, put them in a small pot and let them simmer over low heat. I added a little bit of water to the pot just in case, and then let the strawberries simmer for about 25 minutes. Now it's time to make the indention. I'm using a measuring spoon here, 1/4 teaspoon, but you can use your thumb or the end of a wooden spoon as well, whatever works. I have found that the best way to prevent any cracking when making the indention is to cup the cookie with the palm of my hand, keeping the dough as compact as possible. Now back to the jam. The last few ingredients I'm gonna add is a little bit of maple syrup and some agar powder to thicken it. Admittedly, I added too much agar powder. Next time I would use a little bit less because the jam thickened a lot. You've got to be careful with the amount of agar powder you use because it has much stronger jellying properties than, say, gelatin. Let the agar boil for a minute and then transfer the jam into a bowl. I didn't make a lot of jam because we'll need just a few tablespoons for this recipe. And that's it. When the jam is cool enough to handle, fill the thumbprint cookies and serve. As I said, these cookies are perfect for the road, on trips, or whenever you feel like having one.
If you have read any of my blog posts or perhaps watched some of my videos, you probably know that I love peanut butter. And on top of eating peanut butter straight out of the jar, I like to stick it into pretty much everything. So I make my oatmeal with it, I put it into pancake batter, or I put it into cookies.
And you'll hide the jar if you want some more.
And I'll hide the jar. I do that.
I quite frequently find hidden jars of peanut butter. But thankfully they made some of the peanut butter into these cookies and they are holding together well. They taste great. They're not too oily like if you have a normal peanut butter cookie, just your standard flour, egg, peanut butter, sugar. These ones aren't like, I pull my fingers away and it's not like greased. So that's cool. They're portable, like I said, and they taste like a peanut butter cookie. I don't know how else to describe it. Maybe these ones are a few days old, so like they're still holding together well and they're still maintaining moisture. And I think that's because of the coconut flour that we decided was the best.
The coconut flour actually absorbs the moisture. So that's what's not making it sticky. But yeah, because they're a couple of days older, they do tend to dry out even more because the coconut flour keeps absorbing the moisture.
But the coconut flour is the better option compared to the almond flour. The almond flour I found was dry and bitter.
Yes, so we went through 2 batches. I made the first batch with coconut flour and almond flour, and Tanner didn't like it because he found it too dry. So then I took the almond flour out and I just used coconut flour, and I do agree the texture is much better. So we just used coconut flour. So I hope you'll give this a try. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up, comment below, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you next time.